Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm ACated and this is my build. This is the third part in the series of aesthetic rooms that I've been doing. I actually had it planned to make another one of these, but I decided to just go for it anyways because why not? For this one, we're not doing aesthetics this time, although I guess you could say they're aesthetics, but instead I'm doing each room themed after a different occult. So this one is the mermaid room, and then there's going to be a spellcaster room, a fairy room, a werewolf room, a vampire room, and an alien room. So this is the mermaid build. It's a little complicated. I wasn't really sure how to exactly pull this off because I wasn't sure if I should do something that's like underwater or something that's more on like beach vibes like Sulani, and I think I ended up going with a little mix of both, but mostly the Sulani vibe. It's definitely more beachy than underwater, but I did add a pool because I thought that would be very fitting anyways. I used a lot of furniture from Island Living, so lots of the wicker and island furniture, but I ended up changing a few things around, especially at the end I changed the wallpaper to make it a little bit more mermaidy and a little bit less beach housey because it's more I don't want it to be a generic beach house. I want it to be more like a mermaid lives here. Although I don't know if it's functional because I added a lot of different props around, so it might not be functional, but the whole point of this is not to be functional, it's just to sort of capture the aesthetic that I'm going for. I use that little coffee table that comes with the My First Pet stuff. I'm pretty sure it's where it comes from. It's the one with all like the coral and stuff in it, which you can probably see on screen there. But I think it's really useful. It looks really cool. I always forget that you can actually put stuff on there because the top is glass, so it's not just empty. But I think it would be cool to do that as like a touch pool or something, kind of for an aquarium. So when I do an aquarium build, I'll probably use that object for that, or something similar to that anyways. I added a lot of these little coral pieces around from Island Living, which are in the debug catalog, and they're really cool, and those will also be good for an aquarium build, so you'll probably see that coming soon. But yeah, I just wanted to give it a sort of mermaidy underwater vibe while also still being a room like above water. Because of course no coral is going to actually grow in like the room, like that's kind of weird. And then I also just changed the lighting wallpaper around. Anyways, so we're moving on to the spellcaster room. I wanted to make this very different from what might be a very whimsical kind of like medieval sort of spellcaster vibe because I wanted that to be a little bit more for the fairy. So this one's a lot more academia, I think. It's giving more Hogwarts and less Lord of the Rings, if that makes sense. I'm imagining this room would be more in like an academia setting, sort of like a magic school, if that makes sense. One thing about these rooms that I did here, I really like how I did them because I used some objects and stuff that I don't normally use, so I thought that was a cool way to sort of explore using those. I especially mean those windows, the stained glass windows that come from Realm of Magic, because I never use them for anything because I never have a reason to use them, but for this one I did, and they actually look really cool, so I want to try to use that in some way, maybe sometime in the future. Maybe I'll make some sort of historical building or some sort of magical Realm of Magic building. I mean, I'm probably gonna redo some of the lots in Glimmerbrook anyways, so you'll probably see that eventually. Probably around autumn, because that feels a lot more autumny than summer, I guess. One limitation that I have with these rooms is that they're kind of small, and I wonder if I should make them bigger, but they're kind of small, so then I can't really fit as much stuff that I would want to in these rooms. And then sometimes it feels a little bit too cramped and crowded, so I might switch it up a little bit, make it a little bigger, switch up the way that I do these rooms maybe, because I'm probably going to make a few more of these, maybe a lot more, I don't know, but whatever you guys want to see. If you have any suggestions for what kind of rooms or series that I can do with this, be sure to let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to see it. Similar with the fairy build stuff, I feel like the Realm of Magic film build stuff is kind of weird and sometimes I don't really know what to do with it, but I think I actually managed to pull it off in a way that actually looks good, so that's pretty cool. I usually use like the normal base game historical kind of furniture for magical stuff kind of like this if I do ever make magical stuff like this, but the Realm of Magic stuff really works there, so I might be using it in the future. Anyways, so this is the fairy build, and I wanted to add a little fairy house in the corner since that's kind of the cornerstone of like how fairies function in this game now. They fulfill all their needs in the fairy house, so then there's not really much use for anything else. So that's why I added it, because it's kind of like essential for any fairy. This one I was kind of going for kind of a cottagey vibe, but sort of like with just like lots of plants around, lots of mystical looking plants. So I was trying to make it look kind of cozy and very different from the Spellcaster one, because I feel like fairies and spellcasters are kind of very different forms of magic and have very different aesthetics, and I'm kind of trying to differentiate that and exaggerate that difference as much as possible. Not exaggerate, more accentuate. Like I'm accentuating what's already there. I quite like the plants and stuff that came with the fairy pack, but there's not enough of the plants. Like they all have all the house plants and stuff, but there's not enough of like normal plants like you would put outside. And I feel like they should have added more stuff, especially because there's a lot of stuff in debug already. They could have just made a lot of that into the build by catalog, but they didn't, which is also similar to cottage living because some of the cool flowers and stuff were also in debug. Anyways, moving on to the werewolf room. For this one, I was kind of just going with whatever vibe the werewolves pack came with, like the whole industrial woodsy aesthetic. Because when I think of werewolves, I just think that they all live outside because they're all like wolves and whatever. But for this one, I was like, it's supposed to be a room. So I was like, okay, so maybe they live in a little shack or something, and that's what it looks like. I used a lot of the objects from the werewolves pack, and I also tried to add some objects that theoretically a werewolf would use. So I think I added an exercise machine, then I added those little plant garden things, although it doesn't actually grow anything, I just put some debug plants there, but I think it looks cool. I added lots of different plants around. I made it look very greeny because I didn't want it to look the same to anything because I feel like I didn't want all the cult rooms to look the same. So they could have all had like yellow lighting or something because that's what I usually do, some sort of yellow warm lighting. But it's like that all looks the same and that's kind of boring. So I tried to make the lighting and all the color schemes look very different. So they kind of all stand out and look unique from each other. Let me know if you think that worked, and let me know if it didn't work and you have any suggestions on how I could make each room look a little bit more distinct from each other. I quite like how the werewolf room turned out. It looks very much like the werewolf pack aesthetic, although that's not really how I imagine werewolves to be living in, but I don't know, it's just kind of how it works sometimes, and that's fine. I do like how it looks very cobbled together and kind of repurposed. Everything's kind of just repurposed from old stuff, and I think that's pretty cool. Also, the tile that comes with the werewolves pack, like the broken tile, it looks really cool, especially as a ceiling because it kind of looks like ceiling tiles. Anyways, we're moving on to the vampire build, and I was trying to make this very dark, very gothic, Victorian-esque, very just similar to all the objects and aesthetic that came with the vampires pack, of course. It's your very typical old, dark vampire manor kind of thing. Then I also added like a lots of cobwebs and lots of wear and tear and stuff, like the stuff that comes with the pack, and I think it looks pretty good, very typical. I quite like all of the furniture and all like the build buy objects that come with this pack because a lot of it's very vampire-esque, but a lot of it's also just can be used for lots of different things, especially old or historical buildings, especially European buildings and Victorian buildings, which are really useful. So I quite like the stuff that comes with this pack. I added a coffin into the room because vampires live in coffins, so that's pretty obvious. And then I kind of accentuated the whole red vibe by making the lighting red. So yeah, that's what I did. Alright, here's the final room, and it's the alien room. For this one, I kind of had to go with my own creativity because there isn't like a lot of specifically alien stuff in the game because they don't really have their own world or even their own lots or anything. So I kind of just used whatever I could to make it seem like a sort of alien vibe. Mostly it's a lot of very modern furniture and then stuff that just kind of looks very sci-fi or kind of just looks weird. I used the alien plants that came from Strangerville because I thought it would be cool to like sort of add an alien touch because I feel like an alien would probably have some sort of alien looking plant in a pot like as decoration because like we have like normal plants in a pot, but then they'd probably have like really cool or glowing or whatever plants in a pot. Then I also added that bed from Get Famous, the one with like you see that right there, it's like the pod bed. I think an alien would sleep there. Like that just looks like an alien bed. So I just added that. And then I also added the light that comes from Strangerville, the one that's like a flying saucer shape. It is very campy, but I added it anyways because I didn't like, why not? It's very silly, but it's really fun too, so that's cool. Then I also added those lights from Spa Day, the ones that are like the strips that go up the wall. That's very futuristic and sci-fi to me, so I added that in. I also added those little alien things that come from base game, the little alien creatures that you can keep. I added that in because I feel like maybe the alien that lives here would probably like keep them as a pet or something. I don't know, but they're kind of alien-esque, so I put them in. I also added the wormhole tunneler thing that comes from Get to Work because it's the way to get to Sixam from anywhere, and I think an alien would have that because it's just like, how else are you gonna get home? Unless you have a spaceship, but I couldn't fit a spaceship here, so wormhole it is. I also added that like controller desk, the one from base game. I'm not really sure exactly what it's for, but it looks kind of techy, futuristic to me, so I added it. Anyways, we're nearing the end of the video, so be sure to stay till the end for a montage, not a showcase though. There's not much to showcase, so I'm probably just going to show the final rooms and then just be done with it. Anyways, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and do all those fun YouTube things. Be sure to watch any of my other videos if you haven't already, and be sure to stay tuned for more, because there's more coming up. Thanks for watching, and please enjoy the montage. Bye!